Hey, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Jess. This is Matcha. Today we're going to be starting another reading vlog. This will also be a cozy gaming vlog because I have a couple of cozy games that I got yesterday. I bought them on the Steam Spring Sale. Of course, I had to start one of them yesterday. I played about 5 hours of this game yesterday, and that is Cozy Caravan. It is a delightful little game where you play as a critter of your choice. There are so many creatures to choose from when you start the game, and you get a caravan that you drive around with your friend Bubba, who is a frog who only says the word Bubba. And basically you just drive around the map collecting resources, crops, and doing little requests for the villagers. Why do you keep changing direction? And you have a little kitchen on your caravan, you can cook things, and then you sell them at the market on the weekends. And it's very cute. It's very simple and repetitive, but it's kind of like a wholesome game that you can just put on and watch a video. I was watching booktube videos yesterday while I was playing that. And the other game that I got is called The Little Witch in the Woods. It has kind of that pixelated Stardew Valley look to it. It has pixel graphics, and it's really, really adorable. The art is just so cute. And she's gone. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know that you gather resources in the forest, and I think there's combat, there's potion making, and you can ride a broomstick around the forest, which is pretty great. So I'm definitely gonna have lots of cozy gaming content in here as well if you enjoy cozy games. But let's talk about the one book that I have started recently, and I don't think that she really needs much of an introduction.
Preparing the Krabby Patty!
I am finally reading Sunrise on the Reaping, like over a year since it came out. I'm way behind. But I'm just happy that I'm finally reading it. I'm not that far. I'm maybe 20-25% into this. We have not even gotten to the games themselves yet. We're still in the setup phase. So if you don't know about this book, ideally read the Hunger Games books before this if you haven't read them already. This is a prequel, but it does drop a lot of names, and there's a lot of Easter eggs for things that you would only really know about if you read the books. I did reread them this past year, so a lot of the references are fresh in my mind. This is a Hunger Games prequel book following Haymitch, who is one of the characters in the Hunger Games trilogy. This is his Hunger Games, so this is the year that he gets reaped, and he is one of 4 children that are chosen from District 12. And the year of his reaping is special because it takes place on the Quarter Quell, which is a special Hunger Games that they do, and every Quarter Quell has like a different challenge to it, basically like an extra layer of terrible that's added onto it. So this year they reap 4 children instead of 2, so Haymitch is one of the 4 children who get chosen to go into the arena for the Hunger Games. So basically we are starting with Haymitch at 16 years old, but this follows a very similar layout so far to the Hunger Games book 1 because we start with kind of seeing his life in District 12, and then we see the Reaping Day happen and how that plays out. We get to follow him and the other tributes to the capital where the games are not held, but kind of the opening ceremonies are held. And that's kind of the point where I'm at right now, is we're in the capital and he is meeting the mentors who will be training him and getting him ready for the Hunger Games. So yeah, it's still really early. Like I said, I'm only maybe a quarter into this, but I cannot wait to get further into this. I will probably do some spoiler-filled sections in here, but overall I'm going to try to keep my comments and my thoughts spoiler free. If I'm going to do a spoiler section, I will clearly mark it on the top somewhere and I'll timestamp it so that you don't get any spoilers if you haven't read this yet. I know a lot of you have probably read this already, so you might want to see my spoiler filled reactions. In that case, I will have those marked on the timeline below so that you can watch or not watch at your leisure. So this is the one thing that I'm reading so far. I have one other book that I need to be starting for the next episode of Bewitch or Ditch. I will probably be starting it very soon, but I just don't know if I'm going to actually include it in this vlog. But we will see. I am a huge mood reader, and these are mood reading vlogs basically. It's just whatever I pick up is what you see. So yeah, that's the intro. So I'll see you guys whenever I have a reading update, whenever that is. Goodbye. Hi, so we're on the floor. If you hear any strange noises or yelling, my neighbor's children, last I knew they were playing outside. And it's really warm up here, and I'm not going to open the window because I don't want any screaming children in the background. I don't think you want that either. So I'm here to give a halfway update. I'm just about halfway, maybe under 50%, but we are just about getting there. And so far, I'm really liking this. I knew I would. I had a feeling I would like it a lot because I love the Hunger Games books. So I'm glad this is holding up to the hype so far. I'm really liking it. And I'm trying to think about how I'm going to talk about it without spoiling anything. So far, there's not a whole lot to spoil. I think that the next half is going to be much more spoiler filled, just because we're going to be getting into the games, and it's hard not to spoil anything that happens in there. But I think that I can talk about the first half in a spoiler-free way, and then maybe give a couple of small spoiler thoughts, and I'll tag those, of course. If you know the Hunger Games and you know the premise of this one, then it's not really a surprise that our characters are going to be going into the Hunger Games. They're going to be going into the arena. That's kind of the whole point. So I think I can talk about like the foundation of the story and not spoil anything for anybody. So he got to meet the mentors, which I won't say who they are because that was a nice little like, ooh, I know those people kind of moment. And he's starting to kind of build a dynamic with his other tributes from 12. He's meeting the other tributes from the other districts. Even though it's double the amount of kids, the kids they are introducing are getting characterized pretty well. I mean, it's hard because there's so many kids to introduce, but we are establishing a little bit of like a reason to like these characters and a reason to root for these characters. And it feels like Haymitch genuinely cares about the people that he's meeting here, and he's building these dynamics with people that are honestly really adorable. And so I do like that we're having a lot more side characters get talked about. I guess that's one big difference from the trilogy to this, obviously, is that in the trilogy, Katniss had Peeta to play off of because that was the only person that she knew. She wasn't really making buddy-buddy with any of the other tributes, but he's getting to meet and build friendships with some other tributes from other districts, and I really honestly find him to almost be like a big brother character to a lot of these kids. I actually am really enjoying his characterization in this. I think he's really sweet. And I gotta admit, I wasn't really sure what to expect from Haymitch in this book because when I do think about Haymitch, I think about the one from the movies. I think about the way that that actor played it, and I don't really remember so much about Haymitch from the books, even though I just read the books not that long ago. I still liked his character in the books, maybe more than his character in the movies, but it's been a while since I've seen the movies. But so going into this one, I had no idea what to expect from his character because obviously the Haymitch that we know from the trilogy and from the movies, he's been tempered, he's been hardened by life and by the Capitol and the games, of course, that he's going to be experiencing in this book. So, you know, it's interesting to see his character as a young kid, as a 16-year-old. He is very loyal, he's very loving, and he's very family motivated in the same way that Katniss kind of was. But I think that like big brother, family motivated kind of energy comes out a lot more when he's talking to the other tributes and the younger kids. And I don't know, I love seeing that kind of like big brother aspect of him come out. I feel like in the trilogy, we really only had that dynamic with Katniss and Rue, where it was kind of a extension of her dynamic with her little sister. And in this, it kind of feels like the extension of Haymitch's little brother is just all of the younger tributes. And it's really wholesome, honestly. And obviously, I don't think it's a spoiler to say this. I have a feeling a lot of these characters are gonna die. That's kind of the nature of the Hunger Games, is that a lot of these characters we're gonna get to know and love are probably gonna die. But also, it might surprise me. It might completely subvert that because I don't know what's gonna happen in this. I know nothing about this Hunger Games. So I am really excited, but I'm also, like I said, really nervous because I'm really liking a lot of these side characters and I don't want anything to happen to them. I want to protect these kids. I have a feeling a lot of bad things are gonna happen to these kids and I'm not okay with it. Yeah, that's kind of the spoiler-free aspect aside. I am going to touch on a couple spoiler things. So I'm going to put the timestamp for that on the top, and I'll mark it on the timeline below, like spoilers and then spoilers finished, so that you can come back when the spoilers are done. So if you don't want any spoilers, this is your warning. If you're listening to this like a podcast, I'm going to give you a couple extra seconds to pause or get to your phone and then skip ahead. So consider this your warning. All right, so spoilers now. I was actually really surprised Luella died so fast. I did not expect her to get knocked out of the book that quickly, and it kind of sucks because we only got a couple chapters with her. We didn't get to really know her that well. We didn't get to really establish her and Haymitch's past relationship, and I know we did get some. We got a little bit of their past dynamic. I kind of wish we had a little more time with her before they took her out of the book. I will say that, you know, her death is definitely a catalyst for Haymitch in a lot of ways. It's kind of his catalyst to initiate those other relationships with the other tributes. Also a reason for him to form an alliance with everybody else, because really it was just him and ゚Links originally. And so to get him to kind of branch out and to build these alliances, and especially to build the alliance that is going to result in this like rebellious action that's happening, it kind of had to happen that way. But again, I was still very surprised that it happened so early. It happened literally right here, which is really early. And also this nail is broken. I broke it. I'm getting it fixed tomorrow. Please don't look at it. But the real gag is when they brought ゚Links back into the book at around here. And that sequence was definitely unexpected because I didn't really think that they were going to be able to bring her back, I suppose. They have this, you know, body double for ゚Links, and it's this poor girl who has probably gone through so much torment. And we don't know her name. We don't know what happened to her. We don't know where she's from. They implanted that thing in her ear that hurts her when she does something they don't want. They have the thing on her chest that's like pumping her with drugs or something to keep her maybe docile. And I feel so bad for this poor kid. And, you know, originally they call her fake ゚Links, but then they decide to name her Lulu. I was kind of worried that she was going to be this like malicious, snarky spy for President Snow. I'm glad they didn't go that route because I immediately got like a soft spot for Lulu, especially the way that they were treating her in the Capitol and what she went through. And I love how the group kind of adopted her like right away. And I love how Mags was being so nurturing to her and taking care of her. But I really just have a soft spot for Lulu. I don't want anything to happen to her. Something's gonna happen to her, I guarantee it, because this is the book of dying, basically. I was also surprised to see the introduction of BT or BD from District 3. I can't say too much about it because that's a spoiler for Catching Fire, but he was really pivotal in that book. So I was surprised to see him here, but I'm always happy to see some friendly faces. I think reintroducing characters we already know and giving them more to do within this universe instead of introducing brand new faces that we don't have any connection to is definitely a good thing. It's a hard line to toe because you want to toe the line of reintroducing characters to be useful in this world and to give them more utility and to give them more character development, but you also don't want to cross the line into just fan service and like nostalgia bait by bringing back all these characters that you know and eliciting a reaction because you know them from previous work. So I am enjoying the characters that they've brought back into this so far and the mentions of other characters that we know. Again, it just has to toe that line. Oh, my one other thing that I wanted to say is more of a prediction, but when they brought back fake ゚Links or Lulu and Snow was talking to Haymitch and being a filthy, tricksy guy like Snow is.
Wicked, tricksy, false.
So after that interaction, Haymitch's internal monologue was talking about how initially he thought that Snow was going to bring Lenore Dove. As the like surprise and waiting for him, he thought it was going to be Lenore Dove. And he said something about, I'm glad she's not here and she's safer at home and whatever. And I was like, oh honey.
Oh, my sweet summer child.
No, she's not safe. I guarantee you she's already probably at the Capitol. They probably already have her. And they're just waiting to use her as ammunition against you. I have a feeling that something bad is going to happen to Lenore Dove because how could it not, you know? It's my prediction. Actually, my prediction that I wrote down, like when I was taking my notes online, is they're probably going to turn her into an Avox and like send her to Haymitch. Especially because she loves to sing and she sings like a bird and all this stuff. I think they're going to turn her into an Avox and send her to Haymitch as like a gift. That's kind of my suspicion. In a lot of ways, that would be even worse than her dying because Haymitch knowing that he was kind of the reason for her getting treated like that and for her getting tormented and turned into an Avox or killed or whatever it was. I have a feeling that like that would destroy him, and that's probably, I mean, we know how Haymitch turns out from the trilogy, right? We know he's going to turn into an alcoholic. We know he's going to be depressed and miserable all the time. And obviously here's the receipts, like this is the reason. So I think some fucked shit's going to happen with Lenore. I'm worried about every single kid in this book. I'm worried about every character in this book. Aside from the ones we know survive and the ones that we know are okay. I think that's everything I had to say spoiler-wise with my reactions. If I forget anything, I'll come back in later. But we can go back to the rest of the video now. Alright, so spoilers are over. Welcome back if you left. So yeah, that's my halfway update on Sunrise on the Reaping. I keep saying the wrong thing, by the way. I keep saying Sunrise on the Reading and Sunrise on the Readathon because of Katie Coulson's Sunrise on the Readathon from last year. It takes so many extra brain cells now to say the name of this book. I think that's everything I gotta talk about. I have not started any other books. I've just been reading this. Aside from that, I don't know what I want to pick up next. I'm not in the mood for like anything else at the moment, but it's possible this will just be a Sunrise on the Reaping vlog, which is fine. So I might come back in with like a 75% update and then obviously an end of the book update. I'm so bad at outroing these clips, I never know how to like end it. So I'll see you later. Okay, so it's been a few days. I have a lot of updates. I have a lot to talk about. So get a drink, get a snack. We're gonna be here for a little bit. Gonna be honest, most of these are not bookish related at all. It's just stuff that I want to talk about and I feel like I want to share with you. So, sorry, I feel like I was off center. I don't know if this is any better. So first and foremost, I have some exciting news. This morning I went and picked up our new foster cat. So those of you who watch my vlogs probably already know, but I volunteer at an animal shelter and I go there once a week. I guess it was every other week, but now I'm going once a week. I put footage of the shelter cats in my vlogs. It's something that I always have done because I love showing them to you guys. And I think it's important to promote, adopting from shelters when you can. So there was a cat at the shelter who I just kind of instantly felt like a little bit of a bond with, and she was really cute. She's very shy, she's reserved. And so we had talked with them about adopting her potentially. They said they're not sure how she would do in our home because we already have 3 cats, and Matcha and Mochi are very in everybody's business all the time. They're always up to something, so they weren't sure if she would get along with them. So what we're doing is kind of a foster to adopt situation where we bring her home, we keep her for a while and see how she does, and if everything goes well, then we can keep her and we can adopt her. Sorry if you hear dogs barking. I don't even have the window open, but there's a loud ass dog out there. So I brought her home today and I will put some clips and footage of her. I'll put a little montage right here actually. So right now her name is Tori, Torie. I don't think we're gonna change it until we officially adopt her just because I don't want to get too attached, if that's even possible. I'm already attached. But I'm really hopeful and I'm trying to be optimistic about it. I think that once she settles in, I think she'll be really great. She's very reserved. She's a shy little lady. So she's 8 years old and she came from a hoarding situation with a few other cats. She has some teeth problems. She actually had 5 teeth taken out recently and she had a bunch of plaque and tartar. They took all that out as well and gave her a nice clean. Basically, most of her bottom teeth are gone. She just has the top teeth and then a few little of the tiny baby teeth in the middle. And one thing about her is that I don't know what it is about her face or her jaw or something with her mouth, but she has this tiny little snout that just is so adorable, but she drools. She actually drools a lot. So I think when she's stressed and also when she's happy, just when she's kind of exerting, she drools. But she's downstairs right now in our spare room, which we have been keeping empty for a while, but eventually it'll be my library at some point, my home library. She's currently in the dresser. I had to take out the bottom drawer because she went underneath the dresser. I currently have a little hiding cave for her down there. Yeah, that's the cat update. So welcome Tori to the channel. Hopefully forever, but at least temporarily. And I'm really excited to have her. I really hope it goes well. I really hope that she'll be happy here. Ultimately, it does come down to whatever is best for her. Of course, I don't want her to be unhappy. If it doesn't work out, then it doesn't work out, but at least we got her into a home for a little while and can see how she does in different situations, so it's never going to be a bad thing to foster. So that's the cat update, which is huge. So let's work down in importance of the updates, I suppose. So yesterday we went to Boston. If you guys are familiar with the convention PAX East, it's a video game convention. Video games, board games, card games. They do a lot of different panels and events around cosplay. There's a lot of indie studios that will come and showcase their games. You'll have demos available. So it's a really, really great event and it happens once a year. I think it's usually March or May. For whatever reason, last year it was in May and then this year it was in March. And I think the first year we went it was in March. So I think it alternates. I don't know. There is also a PAX West, I believe. I think it's somewhere in California. So if that is more in your area, I would definitely look into it. PAX is a great event. It's a really great way to find and support indie studios. Hello? Mochi is really curious about his new sister. He just keeps sitting outside the hallway and crying. You want to meet your sister, huh? So yeah, we went to PAX yesterday and I have a bag of goodies here. I think what I want to do is show you the things that I purchased from some of the indie artists that were there. That's another thing is they have an artist alley. It's very similar to Comic-Con, an artist alley, and it's kind of mixed in with all of the indie studios with the demos and board games and card game demonstrations. So there was an indie artist there who I bought a lot of things from. I just thought all of their stuff is amazing. and that is MilkyTomato. But I got this bag of goodies, and so this is a creepy mystery gift box, $60 value. Who knows what's gonna be in here? So let's do this one first, and then I'm gonna show you this stuff. I got this keychain, this little ghost milk keychain, the purple, the lavender. I love the little ghosts coming out of the straw. 100% dead. So cute. I got this button that says, I tried my best. It has this little dead rat mouse guy. I do love mice and rat guys. Not really dead ones, but you know. I do love like the decay, rot, cute kind of thing. I don't know. Got this really cool demon guy with a blood bag. It's like this really shiny material as well. It's all metal. Really, really, really cool. This guy was kind of pricey, but it's very large, and like the whole thing being metal and really nice quality, it does feel worth it, but he was a little expensive. I got this little bee embroidered patch. Happy little bee guy with a knife, you know. And I got this bracelet to match with it. It's got little bees with knives all over it. It's kind of stretchy too, which is nice. These are for a friend of mine. I just thought, I don't know, this reminded me of them, so. And then I got a couple of free buttons because I spent so much. This one with the wolf skull and a little like snake or worm. That one is going to my friend with the bee stuff as well. And then this one I took for me. Eyeball, drippy iris situation. I love this. They also included this little advertisement for their monthly pin club that you can join. They also have a monthly sticker club. So I might have to sign up for one of those. I've never done that. I'm gonna save the bag and put the stuff for my friend in here and then just give them this. It's just so cute. So I guess now let's open this. This is from the same shop. It's from MilkyTomato. I chose the creepy one because they had a lot of teeth related things. I was hoping maybe that there'd be some more like demon or weird eyeball, whatever things in here. So let's open this up. So I'm not gonna look inside because I don't want to get revealed what it is. Oh, teeth stuff. So we got a lanyard with teeth. It's this bright red with all the teeth on it. Love that. This feels like a sticker or a print. Okay, got this like postcard print. Super cool. We got another teeth embroidered patch. Very, very good. I feel a keychain. I'm gonna leave the keychain for last, I think. Hang on, there's a button. Kind of similar to the one that I got before from my friend, but with a cat skull. I do love that. I think it's a snake. I think it's a snake. This might be another patch. Oh, it's a sticker pack. So it's a bag of stickers. Let's look what we got. Got this creepy teeth angel bat person. Punk skeleton with a snake. It's like a fox skeleton. It's like he's underneath a sheet. This what would Mothman do sticker. Got this creepy clown with the face full of teeth. That's terrifying. And oh, this one's really cool. This punk skeleton guy. That's so, so cool. And I think there's just one thing left in here, and I think it's the keychain. Ooh, okay. It's that same character with the bat wings and the teeth. That's so cool. I do love that. That is really creepy. The inside of the box is all intestinal too. That's very neat. This was so cool. I kind of wish that I got these teeth socks. There were these crew length socks that were bright red and they had the teeth all over them. I kind of wanted to get those in here, but we didn't get them. But I was also not sure if they would give me sensory ick because I have a lot of weird sensory stuff around socks and seams. So lucky I didn't get them, but also I kind of wanted them. That's what was in there. Maybe I'll put everything back in there for now so I can show my fiance later. So that's everything that I bought, which is crazy. I didn't really buy that much stuff. I felt like I did. I did buy one more thing that I'm not showing you because I got it from my dad and I don't want him to see it if he watches this video. I think what I'm gonna do now is go through this pile of stuff that I got from all of the different developers and booths yesterday. And I'm gonna try to explain the indie games to you if I can. I'm gonna try to tell you what they're about or at least tell you like what they looked like. Just because a lot of the developers that go there are very small. And if I can try to help like spread the word and maybe tell some of you guys about these games, maybe you'll like them. So if you're not interested in this part, you can time skip ahead. But if you're into games, especially like small indie studio games or cozy games, there's some stuff in here for you. So these ones are from a booth for a game called Orna. It seems like it's a Pokemon Go style game where it uses the real map and actual GPS to generate stuff around you to fight. You play as these little pixel characters. There's like the warrior, the mage, the thief. I got the thief one, he got the warrior Warrior one just because it's got promo codes and stuff on the back. So you play as these little pixel characters and you walk around and you fight, you discover dungeons and you can fight in those. There's raids. You can improve your characters and develop them into a different class or improve their gear, things like that. All the different characters and monsters had this great pixel art style, so if you're into that and you do a lot of exploring around or you want an app that maybe helps you get your steps in, maybe look into Orna. So this one is a little card from a game called Pelican Post. It says, Pelican Post is a cozy narrative game about building community while delivering mail to a town of charming characters. So the demo was just a tiny little snippet of the game. You play as a pelican postman and you drive around this little town, 2D style, so you just move like side to side across the screen. It's not like a 3D world you can interact with too much. But the art style is really cute. Again, it's like pixel graphics and everything is very bright and pastel. There's a few different characters in town you can meet. You can deliver them packages. I didn't get to see too much of this one in the demo, just a very brief little snippet, and I got to play for a little bit, but it was really cute and it seems like it's just a cozy, simple kind of narrative game. So if you're into that, it might be worth looking into Pelican Post. Some of the vendors give little pins and such as well, or patches. And this particular game had this little cat businessman character because it's called Cat Secretary, and you play as a cat secretary and you do little tasks. I didn't get to play very much of the demo because it bugged out on me, but it seemed really cute. So that one is like 3D. You explore a little office as a cat and you can do different tasks like refilling the coffee machine or resetting the router. There's different little mini games as well throughout those tasks, so that one was cute. This next booth we got sticker sheets while we were talking to them. So this is for a game called High Times. It seems like it is a management dating sim game. I think it's very similar to Coffee Talk is what they were saying, but instead of making coffee and serving that to customers and then getting like the narrative cutscenes from there, you make donuts. So it felt like Papa's Donuteria or like those kinds of like Papa's kind of games if you've ever played those back in the day. It feels like that with the kind of mini game of making the donuts, but then it has the Coffee Talk style of talking to the patrons and getting to know them, getting to know their backstory. So I just thought the sticker sheet was a really nice touch because, I don't know, it's just different than some of the other booths that were doing more of just like buttons and things. I like the idea of a sticker sheet. I don't know if I have a card for this game, but this developer also has a game coming out called Spirit Rancher. I think it's still very early in development, but it's more of a Stardew Valley-esque farming game where you have spirits that you raise and you gather resources from them, from nurturing them and taking care of them. So I think that one looks more up my alley. I did already put it on my wish list on Steam, so we'll see when that eventually comes out. I think my friend likes these kinds of games, so I might give them the sticker sheet because then maybe they'll look into it. This next one, I think we briefly walked by and they handed this to us, but it's for a game called Nullpoint Protocol. It says it's a 1 to 4 player co-op action roguelike where you face harbingers of the apocalypse. Craft your own class from randomized loot, master each boss fight, and save your species from extinction. It has local and online co-op, challenging boss fights with bullet hell style attack patterns, craft, experiment, and upgrade your skill set with randomized loot, unlock new ability packs, hub upgrades, lore journals, and difficulty modifiers, and there's also mystery events. So it does say like bullet hell, boss rush style kind of game if you enjoy that sort of thing. I haven't really played that many. I really liked the boss design that they were doing in these. The designs of the characters were really, really cool. But that's this one. This next one has this really cool art print on the back of this one, and it's for a game called Never's End. So it's hard to tell based on the art on the card, but it's a top-down kind of bird's eye view tactical combat game basically. If you've played Fire Emblem or those kinds of games where you have a map and you move in like little squares around, and it's got that turn-based combat style. It has like terrain factoring in as well, and there's a ton more elements going on than just that. It seemed like it was a really inventive style of like really inventive system. I don't really know if it's my kind of game, but I do like Fire Emblem, so I might look into this one, but that's Never's End. This next one is called Farmbotic. It's got this cute little farm bot guy. So it says, build your high-tech farm, plant crops, raise animals, and cultivate unique mutated plants. Automate your operation with advanced robots and specialized hubs to grow your small farm into a prosperous high-tech enterprise. Explore and unearth resources. Venture into the depths beneath the mountain to gather valuable ores and treasures. Craft advanced machinery machinery and better weapons, but beware. Mutated monsters guard the mines and will fight to protect their minerals. And it looks like it has co-op as well. It says team up with up to 4 friends, but I imagine I'd probably just play it single player. The visual style and the kind of perspective looks very much like House Flipper if you've played those games. It's that first person, kind of 3-dimensional, like softened realism look. And from the look of it, I really enjoyed the crafting system. It has a lot more depth to it than like House Flipper, obviously, because it doesn't have crafting. But it looks like there's a pretty detailed crafting system. Didn't get to see the mines, but that is really interesting. So I'm gonna definitely look into this one. Next, I got this tiny little button. It's this little sushi guy. It's called Mold Washer. It seems like it's a power wash simulator type of game where you play a little sushi and you clean out the fridge from mold and debris and things like that. It just looks really goofy. I might look into this one just because the graphics were really funny, very cute, and kind of a funny concept. There's upgrades as well, so you can upgrade your little power wash gun, and then I think there's also like hidden things in each level you can look for. So it looked silly, but it also looked very cute. This next one I think we looked at pretty briefly, but it's called Song of Maka, and I think it's a side-scrolling platforming type of game where you play as a little songbird. I don't have much to say about this one because I think we were kind of like in between places. We didn't have much time to stick around and look at it. This card that my fiance got I think has a better look at the graphics, like what the game style looks like. So that might help give you an idea. Oh, this one was really cool. So this is for a game called Memoria Wake. You're playing as this little kid with the mask, and I think you're going through his memories. I think the way they described it is you're working through this kid's memory and you're seeing things the way that he saw them, the way that he perceived things, or just different ways that he saw what was happening or saw the world or whatever. I don't know how to describe it, but it looked really interesting. I thought that the concept of basically playing through the memories and seeing the warped way that memory kind of is in your head. So I definitely wanted to look at this one because, first of all, the art was really, really great, and I just think that the concept sounds really, really cool. So then the last thing is this pamphlet that we got from this studio called Bite Rockers. It's a German studio, and they had a display with a bunch of different games. They had these patches that they gave us for this game called Exovia. These are really nice patches too, but they gave us these for this game called Exovia, which just says publishing this year. Free your mind as you mine an asteroid in zero gravity, creating floaters that drift through the oddly satisfying physics-driven supply chains that you design to pave humanity's road to the stars. Mining in zero-G physics, create physics-based automation networks, kind of Satisfactory style game, but it's like more spacey, and you're sorting through different mining resources. They also have a game coming out next year called Oku, which is a relaxing adventure atmospheric game where you play a traveling monk, and apparently you write haiku-like poems, basically. It seems like it's inspired by traditional Japanese art and writing. But the one that I was really excited about, because I'd already seen this game before, I'd already heard about it, is called the Regreening. I'll show you the little page. So it's this one here called the Regreening. It's a simulation farming sim game about restoring nature in a soil punk fairy tale. Grow plants to create living ecosystems, become friends with ancient spirits, and make your own upcycling hub. Hug all the animals, which is pretty great. There's also like folktale characters that you can discover the stories about. It just looks really great. The art style looks really good. So that's really the major thing that I was looking at in this booth was the Regreening. So that's everything from PAX. It was a really great time, and I don't know if you guys took anything out of that, seeing all the different indie games that I looked at, but I hope that maybe you at least found one in there that sounded interesting to you. So yeah, cat update, PAX update. I guess we can chat quickly about a reading update, although I've been talking for about 50 minutes, so I'm very thirsty. So I don't want to talk too long. I've been kind of in a reading slump a little bit, just because life's been a little busy. It's been a little hectic. But basically, where I was at on Sunrise on the Reaping is about 75%. We are in the arena, we are in the Hunger Games, and a lot has been going on. It's obviously like a breakneck pace because usually that's how these books are, is once you hit the arena, things just keep going and going and going. That's definitely the case here. It's very fast paced. There's a whole lot happening. There's a whole lot of people dead already. And there was definitely a moment where I was really shocked about a character death as well. I got like kind of not emotional, but I was like, my jaw dropped a little bit and I was like, holy shit, that's fucked up. So I don't want to say who, obviously. But yeah, so I'm still going in that and I'm really enjoying it. I'm curious to see how this is going to wrap up and what's going to happen at this Hunger Games and how it's going to play out. Because obviously we know Hamish is still alive in the series. Like we know he makes it into the trilogy, of course. I will definitely have more to talk about in the final update. Like I said, I've been talking for like 55 minutes, so I'm kind of cooked at the moment. And it's already been a busy weekend. Yesterday was super draining. I almost had a meltdown at the convention because it was like way too overwhelming. Yeah, it's just been a really great weekend with PAX, with the new kitty. It's been a lot. So thank you for sitting through all these updates, and this vlog is probably going to be insanely fucking long again. So yeah, I'll see you when I have finished Sunrise on the Reaping. This will be a one book vlog because there's just been so much other stuff to talk about. So I'll see you then. Hi, I just finished work. Forgive my sweaty state of being again because I just got out of work and today was honestly fucking hell. Everything was just a complete mess. It was so humid in the lab today. Really rough. And then on top of that, I started Shark Week today. I'm just in the trenches at the moment. I hope you guys don't mind these car updates too much. It's just kind of convenient, especially right after work when I just kind of want to like chill for a minute before driving. And I hope you don't mind my steering wheel being in the way, but this is kind of the only place I can put you. But I have been meaning to come in and film the outro for this vlog because I have my final thoughts on Sunrise on the Reaping. I finished the book a few days ago at this point. So I think where I left off talking to you, we were in the games and I think some people had died. So I'm definitely going to be doing a spoiler section because I don't know how else to talk about my final thoughts on the book without talking about spoilers. So I'm going to do my non-spoiler thoughts first and then I'll do some spoiler thoughts. I'll timestamp those. So non-spoiler thoughts. I didn't love it as much as I thought I would, and I think part of that, unfortunately, is that right before Shark Week, I go through a phase of complete apathy to like everything. I'm not really feeling as much enjoyment from everything. I'm not getting the same positive feelings or negative feelings out of things. So video games, books, everything just doesn't really like spark as much emotion from me when I'm in my apathy phase. And that's where I was right when I finished the book, was in the peak of my apathy phase. And I'm still kind of in it, like in the tail end of it. Usually when my period actually starts, it kind of gets better. So I wasn't feeling anything very strong towards any of the events at the end of the book. There were a lot of things that happened that are definitely supposed to strike a lot of feeling in you. I wasn't really feeling anything. I don't think the book was doing anything wrong because all of the reviews that I see from everybody I follow is like, I cried at this, I sobbed at this. And I think I definitely was just in the wrong place at the point where I finished this book, which is rough just because it does sour my enjoyment of everything. I think the events that were happening at the end of the book, the kind of climax of the story and all the things that Hamish was working towards, I think it was satisfying and it did have a good payoff. This is where I think, unfortunately, my opinion might deviate a little bit from the popular opinion. I think that for me, this book felt way too similar, like too much of a retread of specifically books 1 and 2 of the Hunger Games trilogy. The first half of this book, or even the first like 60-70%, felt very similar to the events of the Hunger Games in the way that everything was kind of laid out, the way that Hamish's journey went. And I understand that that's because they're both tributes in the Hunger Games. They're going to have a similar arc. They're going to have a similar progression of living in District 12, having, you know, their family dynamic explained and then what they do for work and how they exist in District 12, and then the reaping, going to the capital, all these things. But it just felt a little formulaic. And then when we got to the arena and everything that happened in the arena, again, not trying to spoil anything, but it felt very similar to Catching Fire in a lot of ways. How everything went down in the arena in Catching Fire. And I think that's as vague as I can be without spoiling anything. Also, sorry, it got really dark. Alright, so I read a review and you can find it on Goodreads. It's one of the like top reviews. It is a 1-star review and it's paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs talking about everything in the book and their thoughts about each like aspect and each thing that happened and etc. So I did sit down and read that whole thing, and I read a lot of other reviews. From 5 stars down to 1 stars, I read a bunch of reviews. It kind of reframed the way that I saw the things that were happening in the book, because I felt to myself, like I was thinking to myself, this feels really familiar. Hang on, I'm gonna turn the brightness up. Okay, that's better. It was really, really dark. I was definitely having my opinion reframed a little bit by that 1-star review. And it didn't drop my review down to a 1. Like, got nowhere near there. I still really liked this book. But it did make me think more about the book and how everything was kind of paced and plotted and the outcome of certain things, the way that certain characters acted. It kind of touched on earlier what I was saying about the nostalgia bait situation person and towing that line between familiar callbacks and just nostalgia bait for the sake of bringing back a familiar person. Sorry about all the car noise. Everyone's leaving the parking lot. I'm sitting in the parking lot at work. As much as I did enjoy the book, and I still really did enjoy it, I think that it does get brought down a little bit by the fact that it does feel like I've already read it before. I don't know. I'm just having a hard time reconciling everything in my head. So I will do a spoiler warning right here. Again, I'll give you guys a couple minutes or whatever, couple seconds, not minutes, in case you guys are, listening to this like a podcast. So skip ahead if you would like. So spoiler thoughts now. In terms of the games, I just want to say I think that some of the deaths in there were handled pretty well. I will say about them is that it feels like the games were much more dangerous than the people in the games were, because most of the deaths that we see are caused by the arena. They're not even caused by other tributes. And I thought that was interesting because I don't remember that being the case so much in the other books. Tributes were killing tributes a lot more often. I feel like in the case of this one, we just didn't see as much of the tribute on tribute combat, and the kind of dynamic of the different tributes, like the careers, really didn't feel like they were as threatening as they were, for example, in book 1 with Katniss versus the careers, especially when Peeta was in the careers. They were much more of the big bad in the games. And I feel like this time, especially with how much they were talking about the newcomers versus the careers during the whole interviewing and everything, the careers really weren't that threatening. I could not remember even one of their names. So much of the events that happen in the games are Haymitch being with this person and that person dies, Haymitch being with this person and then that person dies. I think it's pronounced Ampert, but for him specifically and Lulu, those are such short snippets that we get. And I was really sad. Granted, Ampert's death hit me. I didn't cry, but my jaw hit the floor because I did not expect him to go out so gruesomely. It was really awful. That one was bad because he's just a little baby. They're all little babies, but especially Lulu and Ampert, those are the Rue character almost. I was really sad about theirs, and Maiseli's death as well. I knew she was gonna die. It was, how else is it gonna go? I think her death was also well executed, but again, Lulu we saw on page die from the arena because of the butterfly bush. Ampert was the arena. It was those rabid squirrels. Maiseli was the arena. And I feel like a lot of the major deaths we saw, with the exception of Welly, because that was one of the careers who killed her, which that one also had my jaw on the floor. I didn't expect her to die like that. That was pretty rough for Welly. I just feel like the tribute versus tribute threat didn't feel as powerful. Much more felt like just a survival game of Haymitch and team versus the arena. I don't know. I kind of, this feels like a stupid thing to nitpick about. And so I guess my other nitpicks are about the plan that was being carried out with Haymitch and the plan to flood the brain, which he did, but then it was almost completely overwritten right away. It really didn't matter at the end of the day. Then the later plan to blow the generator, basically passing out on the edge of the cliff and then being picked up by the claw or whatever, going into the lab, being fixed up and everything. It feels very much exactly like what happened at the end of Catching Fire with Katniss, except this time it was Haymitch being picked up by the Capitol. It just felt like, man, we've seen this before. We've done this before. Even though this is technically a prequel, so it should make you think it's interesting that Katniss was able to do basically the same exact thing that Haymitch did in this game's kind of. The ineptitude of the game makers and the Capitol at large, if they saw all this happen with Haymitch, and they know how much damage a tribute can do on the arena and on the games, it's shocking that they let what happened with Katniss happen. You could argue that the Capitol had done such an effective job creating propaganda around specifically Haymitch's games and the Quarter Quell that no one even knew what actually went down in those games except for Plutarch, who was part of it, Haymitch, who was part of it, BT, who was part of it, and then the people who were part of it but could not talk about it, like Mags and YRS. But I think that it just kind of felt slightly like a retcon for a lot of the things that happened in this book to happen, specifically Haymitch meeting YRS and Mags and BT. This was the first time that they'd met, but then I think in the trilogy there's no recollection or there's no interactions between Haymitch and any of them to indicate that they knew each other before. No matter how long it had been, they would never forget Haymitch, Some of the things in this felt a little bit retcon-y to me please feel free to comment down below. If I'm like completely off base and I'm misinterpreting things, please tell me. Obviously, unless you're telling me my entire opinion is wrong. Because again, I still liked the book. I just have some problems a little bit with it. And I think that it's important to think critically about the things we're reading and to notice things like this because they do matter. And I think engaging critically with the media that you're engaging with is important. So I don't know. I don't know if any of those things that I just said connected to anywhere. I don't know if I fully finished any of those thoughts. I tried my best. I think I finished all of my thoughts, but that may have just been a complete ramble. I remembered one more thing. So remember my prediction about Lenore Dove? I was not correct. She did not get turned into an Avox. That was a huge missed opportunity in my opinion. When Haymitch is in the Capitol Hospital or whatever where he's being, treated after the games, he talks about how the Avoxes, there's like Avoxes in the lab and they have like their mouths pressed up to the glass and it's like this whole like horror movie moment. I thought that was going to be like our foreshadowing about Lenore Dove being an Avox, waiting for him when he got home or like waiting for him in the tribute apartment or something. I think there were also some moments of foreshadowing earlier that would have paid off really, really well if she had actually turned out to be an Avox later. Specifically talking about how, his girl from District 12 sings like a bird and has like the voice of an angel and all these things. Like I think Snow says that at one point and he knows about the Coveys or the Coveys and how they all are like musicians. I think it would have been really fucked up of him to turn her into an Avox so she couldn't sing anymore. I think especially with all of the little like connections between Lenore Dove and music, birds, the whole concept of songbirds and like the mockingjays and like silencing her would have been huge, to be honest. I think that honestly would have had much more impact to me specifically than her dying. I mean, I didn't think she was going to survive. I was not disillusioned. I knew she was not going to survive this book. It was just a matter of what was going to happen to her before she died. I think the whole time that she was just off screen in the events of the book, nothing happened to her. She was being held in like the Justice Building because of some rebellious act that she did, but I don't think anything actually happened to her, and if they did do anything, it was never talked about. I feel like so much more could have been done with Lenore Dove, which it sounds like I just wanted this girl to be tortured and tormented and whatever. It's not like I want that for her. It's that I feel like she wasn't fully utilized, I think, in the sense of Snow's master manipulation plan. I don't think that he really, he was responsible for killing her at the end with the candies. I just feel there was some missed opportunity there, especially because, honestly, to me, the whole concept of the Avoxes is one of the more terrifying things that exists in the Hunger Games universe. Like the concept of being turned into an Avox and just being kept as a servant in the Capitol, having all of your agency stripped away from you like that, that's one of the most terrifying things to me. To see that would have been such a strong punch to the gut. I don't know how to explain any of this because it sounds like I just want worse things to happen to every character, and that's not the case. It's just I feel like there were some missed opportunities, and I don't really know how to justify them in the sense that, like, I have no stake in the game. I'm not an author. So I'm just gonna cut the spoiler ramblings here. I think I rambled plenty. I don't know, I've been sitting in my car going on and on and on for like 30 minutes at this point. So this was a lot longer of a vlog update than I had thought I was going to do. So yeah, that's it for the spoilers. Welcome back if you had to leave. I also haven't talked about Tori since the last time that I spoke with you. So it's been a few days. It's only Wednesday. We got her on Sunday. So it's only been literally 3 days, but she's doing really well. I will say she's doing really well only with me. You know, she started being a lot more brave, coming out of her little hiding spot to get pets, and she like circles me. I'm like sitting on the floor crisscross and she's like circling me and I'm scratching her. She flips over and rolls on her back and I can like rub her belly because she loves belly rubs, which is crazy. But when my fiance comes in, she's much more skittish and much more uncertain about him. And I wonder if it's something to do with men and she just doesn't really feel comfortable around men. So we will see how that goes. We're just going to keep, you know, going slowly with her, trying to get her more comfortable as we can. We did have a couple of sniffing through the door interactions with specifically Mochi and Mango. But so we, you know, cracked the door a little bit and let them sniff each other. There was hissing. She was hissing at them and then closed it pretty quickly because there was hissing. So we're just going to keep working on the introductions with the cats and see what happens. happens. This process is going to take a while. I think she's the most nervous cat we've gotten. It's definitely going to be a slower process because she's more nervous, but every now and then she surprises me by being super brave. I will obviously give you so many more cat updates in the vlogs to come. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. I know I only read one book and I didn't do as much cozy gaming as I planned. I never ended up starting The Little Witch in the Woods, but I have been playing a lot of Cozy Caravan ever since the update where I was talking about it and showed you those clips of it. I'm still really enjoying it. I'm just not really enjoying gaming recently just because of the whole apathy thing. So I haven't really picked up anything. We've just been sitting on the couch after work and just watching Dark Souls 3 and Elden Ring challenge videos on YouTube because I don't know. I've just been so apathetic. He's been in a little bit of a depressive funk as well. He has clinical depression. I've got lots of things, so we're just in it right now. But I'm hoping that I can start getting back into gaming and enjoying gaming more in the next few days because I just miss it a little bit. I've been a little bit disconnected. So I think that's everything I had to update on. I, had an extra bit of rambles at the end that I forgot. So thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed this vlog. If you have read Sunrise on the Reaping, comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts were on it. And if you haven't read it or you're not feeling chatty, you don't know what to say, drop some sort of bird and snake emoji because of the whole bird and snake motif. But also I'm wearing my snake earrings today, so I'm kind of already repping the snakes. Also, please consider liking and subscribing if you guys enjoyed this. I am slowly approaching 300 followers, which does feel like not a lot for almost a year on booktube, but that's me being the nemesis of myself at all times. It really is not a comparison game. I really am so appreciative of every single one of you who bothers to watch any of my shit, but it is kind of crazy to think about that we're almost at 300. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Again, it means a lot to me that you're here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.